Hey everyone, it's Amaka,
And Camellia.
and thank you so much for joining us today. We have a pretty interesting guest, Imani Davis. She's a curator of movies. She's a producer. She has her own film festival called Proof, correct?
Amazing. Can't wait to talk to her about that.
And yeah, and being this person right here is a producer, creative director. She's done a lot of filming, all the stuff. She's the boss when it comes to stuff like this. So she definitely pretty much held me by my neck and said, "We are going to talk to her."
I'm
And
not that
you know,
bad.
but I really thought that it was going to be pretty cool. Like her resume is very impressive, and of course, we just would love to get to know her and know more about what she does and
Yeah.
how she brings such interesting films, shorts, and all to the forefront for the underrepresented. So
Totally. And we are in LA. We are in the filmmaking capital of the
yeah.
world. Sorry, I'm going to take that title. So it's really awesome to see somebody who's moving and shaking and with their hand on their finger on the pulse down here is doing. So can't wait to see what she's got to say.
Likewise. So we'll see you soon. Don't go away.
Guest Imani Davis, a film producer, programmer, and host with the American Cinematheque, joins the ladies of Let's Talk, the Afro-style podcast. As the founder of Proof, the first short film festival dedicated to proof-of-concept shorts, she is a passionate voice for building community through cinema. Enjoy the show.
We're so stoked to talk to you today. Thank you so much for making time.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
No
yes.
problem.
So we did a little homework on you. So I just can't wait to pick your brain and learn more about film programming, which is just you're like an art curator is for a museum. You kind of pick the films you want people to focus on, and love to know more about how you came into that and what you gravitate towards personally. Like if you're like flipping through Netflix, like what usually catches your attention?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, I would say that like, that's the, you know, definition of it, especially from folks who like don't, go to the movie theaters a ton. Like that's I think the perfect way to describe it of like, oh yeah, how like a curator is in an art museum. Someone's picking the art, someone's picking the films that you see in like theaters, festivals, all those places. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I do. And then what I gravitate towards, I love a limited series. So I have been really liking Adolescence on Netflix. It's
Okay, cool.
popped off, of course. I love a limited series. And I love like personally genre kind of stuff, like sci-fi, like I love a heist, a thriller, especially with like women protagonists. So if I see anything with that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, let me check it out.
So what is your current programming? Because tell us more about American Cinematheque. And I remember I lived in the Hollywood for a long time. That building was empty for a long time, I think, or it was like a theater and it was shuttered for a minute, and then it came to life with. It looks like. I mean, I'm right, right? It was closed for a little while.
The Egyptian, yeah, on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, the Egyptian on Hollywood Boulevard, yes, was like closed for renovations like right when the pandemic started basically. And so Netflix like bought the building during that time like from the American Cinematheque and then did a beautiful renovation, and so we share the building now. So we program on the weekends and then Netflix programs during the rest of the week. So that's how the setup there goes. But yeah, I'm one of the film programmers at the American Cinematheque, and it's been amazing. It's almost been like 3 years. And so we show all kinds of films, new films, old films. We have like guests in a lot of the time,
Mm.
writers, directors, actors, which is awesome. And it can be like, you know, the biggest studio thing or like a new indie film too. So it's there's so many different things that we get to like work on and put together, and there's so much I learned about like films I've never heard of that I'm still discovering, and different like tributes that we're doing for writers or directors or costume designers or composers. So we have a ton of different kinds of
Wow.
stuff.
Does it be just about anything, whatever you're in the mood for, or, does it change every weekend? Like, whatever you're
Yeah. I would say it does, like, change all the time. There's always movies, like, coming like, there's constantly movies is coming out, and so it's a lot of, like, staying up to date on what's coming out, what could kind of, like, fill the zeitgeist right now in terms
Oh,
of what movies people are talking about. Like, I feel like American Psycho, like, comes up, every so often just, like, on the internet, like, shared as like whether it's like memes or just like lines, like the movie's iconic, it's so good. And so it's like, oh, are people like talking about American Psycho right now? Like, let's maybe program American Psycho. um
is there something super dark about the fact that it stays in our conscience all the
Let me ask, what would be the most?
time?
Because I know that you just listening to you and seeing you this big smile on your face. I'm like, yep, she loves what she does.
Mhm.
Well, what would you say? What are the challenges of what you do in terms of what are you doing to pretty much eradicate that or overcome the challenges?
yeah, that's a great question. I would say in working in film, like there's so many movies, there's so many things like constantly coming out, and then there's just like so many things that have been made. And so because we show like a mix of new films, old films, sometimes there are new restorations made where they like kind of rediscovered or maybe like they found um a
Mm.
film that had previously been lost or something, or just hadn't had like an HD like really great like restoration like in a while. Maybe there's not even a DVD available for it. So sometimes we'll work with like distributors that release restorations, whether it's like something from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And then can I'll watch something, I'll be like, this is amazing. And so just the sometimes getting the audience buy-in, like our audience is very curious. They um will check out new things that we're programming, but there's nothing like programming something that has like a lot of hype around it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a guaranteed hit. Like people want to go to that versus like maybe a smaller film that definitely you want to put the spotlight on, showcase, just making sure it like does well and that people are like showing up to see it. Sometimes that can be a challenge to go around, but we're always like partnering with community partners, doing new marketing strategies.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
So
there's so many
behind
parts
the
to the
big
love child.
smile, yeah, behind the big smile is like just to find it hearing you. I'm really like, oh Lord.
Well, 'cause there sounds like there's so much research, right? Because you have to, like, be abreast of, like, older movies, different eras of movies, as well as new movies, so it's like, how do you find out about new movies that you wanna highlight, and how do you find out about old movies that need to be restored? Like, how do you expand your, already incredibly large volume of
Yeah,
information?
It's like constant, right? Like, do y'all watch movies like a lot?
Not as much as you.
not as much as you, I have to say. That's a good cheat, yeah,
But I love a
because
good movie. I love a good
but
movie.
I love definitely
Mhm.
because I would say that I would be one that would want to go to the movie theater practically almost every weekend, not over the
Mm,
week.
mm.
But the idea of getting up, what do I see now, and stuff like that, it just kind of like throws me off. And I'm like, you know what? I will just stay home and just watch something. But
I would really love if we could go to a movie trivia night that where we could bet
Ah, yes.
because I feel like you would murder it.
So I'm actually like, I don't know why, I'm really bad at movie trivia.
Oh,
And maybe it's because I just,
information. Like
yeah, I think I like
full of Excel.
forget stuff. I haven't done it in a while too. Maybe I should try it because like I feel like I'll stay away because I'm like, oh, people probably think like I'm gonna be good at this, and I'm actually like really bad.
okay, that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong in cheating a little bit. We can just that's what Google is for.
Just under the table.
Alright.
Okay,
So
I have a question. I have a question. What is your favorite era of movies? If you had to pick a decade, for example.
Ooh, that's a great question. I feel like I haven't answered it in a while. Is it okay if I say? Is it okay if I say two?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna go with kind of like movie musical era. Kind of like
My
the
girl.
big, yes, the big like MGM, like over the
Yes.
top.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see, like, are you?
I grew up on that.
Wait, okay, so what?
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. One of my favorites.
Like,
Fun
but
one.
when I think movie musical, I think, oh, like, I mean, there've been a lot of different decades. I'm thinking like Moulin Rouge. I'm thinking Romeo and Juliet. But that's not it. You guys are talking
We're
like
talking about
Sound of Music.
the golden
Like, go
age
back
of
that.
Yes.
golden age
Oh,
of movies.
wow.
I grew up on that, and
So
so
romantic.
oh gosh, I mean, I remember my growing up. We would actually do like some of the scenes, like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. To today,
Oh my God, I hate to see
I'm
that.
a big fan of TCM, so I tend to watch
Ah,
their shows. And so when shows like that come on, not just musicals but others, but when those music Oklahoma, Sound of Music,
yes.
Oh my
all those ones,
God.
Oklahoma, dun, 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 dun. We used to sing it when we were kids.
Yes.
So
Yes,
fun.
girl.
I
I
can
know.
see
I knew I
why.
liked something about you.
Yes. I love
Wait,
a
you
movie
said you were gonna
musical.
say
Pick two.
two.
What's the second
Now
one?
I need to know.
Oh, yes. I'll have to go with like just some of the like really campy stuff from like the early 2000s, and maybe it's like the nostalgia, and we have like that's what I grew up on too. Um, like and some of it like hasn't aged that well. But like just some of the like older Disney Channel original movies, which like watching them now, you're like, this is such
Oh my
a
God,
time capsule.
no. Okay, that's where we break.
Interesting.
It's so funny because I remember that this guy, I don't know his name, but I do follow him on Instagram where he recaps some of this Disney. He does his own versions of the Disney movies or
Are
shows
you
that
talking
came.
about like the classic like princess Disney princess movies?
No, no, no.
No, we're not
It's
those that's
just
earlier
the
90s.
show.
Uh,
So like
And
Hannah
he
Montana.
yeah, it's like
yeah,
the
and
straight to TV.
I literally would not have guessed this. I love it.
he would actually go and do his recreation of a scene, and then when I watch it, I'm just like the way he does, he's letting us know like this thing was the shit back then,
The
Hmm.
biggest.
the biggest thing back then. But now you're
Uh-huh.
watching, I was like, what the hell was I thinking? Like the acting, I'm sorry, the acting was not that great, but it was so corny, and then so it's just
It's like camp now. It's like
yeah,
campy.
it's like, but then I'm like, oh my god.
Here's the thing, because movies, like any art, it can just be so many things, right? But there's something about not taking yourself too seriously that I think got lost along the way.
We didn't play when it comes to the Disney and Nickelodeon days, man.
It was so serious.
It was so
It
serious.
was serious.
Yeah, it was so serious. I
It
have to.
was.
I'm. I won't say I'm embarrassed, but I have to admit when I watch it now, I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking? Back then, it was like, oh my god, oh my god.
Okay, okay.
Totally. Like this is the greatest piece of cinema, which like it has its place. It's
Oh
like
my
such a
God.
time capsule, but it was like very serious, yeah.
Okay, so this is really awesome. I'm going to pivot a little bit, and I
Mhm.
kind of want to talk about your film festival, the Proof Film,
Yeah.
because it sounds so exciting. Why don't you explain so the viewers can understand exactly what you're about? And you're going two years running, right?
Yes, this will be our third year this year. So our third edition of the festival is in November.
We
So we're
come.
super excited. Yes, please. We'll get you some passes, some
Yeah.
badges. It's
Yes,
super
please.
fun.
I'm
my
gonna
goodness,
hold
sounds
you
fun.
to it, girl. So it's not when we come and be like,
Uh,
and you are. I'm like,
Never. But
sorry,
yeah,
but
happy to talk about Proof. It's like I did some indie producing when I was in Chicago before LA too, and so I feel like this has been, a really great combination of both programming and a little bit of producing too, because what Proof is like it's a short film festival and it's specifically for proof of concept short films. And so there's shorts where the filmmaker wants to turn it into a feature or a series. Maybe they have like a pilot that they made. And that kind of idea came because when I came into the American Cinematheque, there was a want to do more with short films and emerging filmmakers in general because, like I mentioned, we'll show, huge studio films, even small indie feature films. So what are we doing for like up and coming
Mhm.
folks in addition to like the big retrospectives that we're doing for like, Spielberg, Nolan, like all those people.
Mhm.
And so we brainstormed like what
Smart.
would, yeah, something like
Does this not
look
exist?
like.
Like, are other people not doing? That's insane. Okay, okay,
It
okay.
wasn't a thing, and that's what started it. It was like, oh, I bet there's a bunch of proof of concept like festivals out there, and I like Googled it, and there was nothing, and so here we are.
So, like, just to give a little background, I worked a little bit with distribution or like marketing at like a film festival, and what I kept hearing was it's not worth it to make a short. People were saying it's not worth it to make a short. It's so expensive. People don't really
Mhm.
pick it up. Blah 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 blah. But for the viewers out there that are not catching up quite yet, Proof is a way for people to show their shorts in order for that to launch and get the funding to become a feature film. Like that vehicle, I think it's just so genius.
It's
Like that was
great. Yeah,
really an
it's
amazing,
really great.
amazing
You.
concept. Is this solely you, or you got a partner in crime on this?
I do. So when we first started it, it was me just like figuring out, okay, what are all the pieces with it because got to pitch to our board of directors, like the American Cinematheque board of directors. They really liked it. Like, I got the buy-in of like the whole organization when I was like, I think this is what we should do, and then set out, you know, of like, okay, what could this look like? And I was like, maybe like halfway into the project process of like launching, I was like, I need help. I need someone. And so my colleague Hannah like is like kind of my right hand, and she's the Proof Film Festival manager now. So I'm the lead programmer and then like also the founder, and then she just like helps so much with like the logistics day to day, our screening committee, um our sponsors, like so much of that. So yes, it is Hannah too.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Let's Talk, the Afro Style podcast with Amaka and Camellia. If you're enjoying the conversation, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and YouTube for new episodes and exclusive content. Stay updated on the latest news, insights, and behind the scenes peeks by following us on social media or emailing us at info@afrostylemag.com. We're always on the lookout for inspiring guests, fresh perspectives, and exciting collaborations. Reach out and let's connect. We'd love to hear from you. Now back to the show.
Okay, so now I have like a million questions. How many submissions versus how many do you get to actually?
True, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Our first year we had like close to 500 submissions, which was like we were so excited about. We're like, wow, okay. 'Cause we were
First
like,
So how
okay.
long are the shorts? Are
What was that?
is
how
there
long?
like a length timeline or
Yes. So our limit is 30 minutes.
okay.
That's our limit.
530.
Oh my
You
goodness.
might as well clockwork orange me and like let's go.
Well, we don't have too many because honestly, like, and this is like a piece of advice that filmmakers don't want to hear sometimes. Is like you can't make your short too long. We have like the 30 minutes in place mostly for like pilots, and we'll have like one a year that's like, the full 30-minute length, and they're really excellent. But it's mostly for that. Like the short film should really be in that like 12 to 15-minute range.
Mhm.
Definitely shorter than 20 minutes. Because it just gets hard to program.
Do you
Yeah.
separate by genre or like do you do a widespread of genre? Like, because I imagine you must get all kinds of movies, right?
All kinds, and we really like to have like a very diverse
Mhm.
selection of things. We want dramas, we want horror, we want coming of age stories, sci-fi, like we want it all in
Yeah.
there in that final like kind of slate we call it of programming because yeah, we don't want to have too many in too many areas. They start cannibalizing each other.
Yeah.
Um because of the industry kind of nature of it. But yeah, we want
Does
everything.
does your event go does it go as far as international in terms of, or are
Mm.
you focused on United States?
We want more. I think that's definitely going to be in the next phase of like growth of like um okay, how
Mm.
can we get even more international outreach? Because we definitely want more. We have like international projects submitted, and they're excellent. And so we want more.
So
And it's like,
cool.
how do we get them? Yeah.
Well, because I remember there was a period where like there was some weird rules happening, and all of a sudden we were starting to see a lot of foreign shows or like
There are a lot of
Korean dramas and
yeah.
stuff like that, or like things that were shot overseas. For whatever reason, I don't know what the ethics of it was, but it's kind of cool to see stories coming from other places because it's just said differently, or you have other countries that just have different ways of expressing themselves on film that can be so beautiful and visceral and like that's so cool
It's
to open
actually
it up.
pretty cool. So
Yeah.
that actually brings me to a question. Just wanted to know your thoughts. Hollywood tends to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Hollywood tends to kind of do this push and pull thing when it comes to divert initiatives. Um, do you think that when Hollywood does that, it's more of a performative thing or is it genuine?
It's so weird to think about like the history of film and like why, the representation hasn't why there hasn't been
Mm,
parity. It really doesn't make sense. And it's because of like patriarchy and the way our society is, because film isn't that old of a medium. It's like
Mhm.
100 years old compared to like painting and theater, thousands of years old. Um, and just from the beginning, it's always been an uneven playing field. And so, yeah,
mm,
I think the diversity initiatives are great. There's like some great directors programs, like shadowing kind of stuff, but it's just like the numbers still today are so bad, even with just like women directors versus like the number of men directors that are out there and are directing the top studio films. Like those numbers are still so bad. And so I'm like, well, where is the disconnect between like these programs that are happening and then like, the actual like the actual product and like the movies that are being made? Cuz yeah, it's just been really really slow. It's getting better, but it's just so slow.
What do you think could happen to make that a more permanent thing?
I think there needs to be more, and I do a lot of work with focusing on women
Yeah.
directors, of course, like women of color directors too, but even just like like there's all that movement can like be made with especially like gender parity. Um we have like an initiative at the American Cinematheque called Women Wednesday, and we focus on specifically directorial debuts from women directors. I think there needs to be more women in action, horror, thriller, like genre kind of stuff, because like I feel like a lot of the times women will kind of, as the playing field has leveled a little bit, women will kind of get shoehorned into like, oh, the small, quiet dramas, which is totally fine. People want to make those, but it's like we can do everything. I've seen amazing stuff. It's even at Proof, where it's like, oh, okay, like
no, that's yeah.
this person made like an awesome action short, like, and they want to make a feature, like, do it, invest in it.
Are you finding that there is because obviously there's a wealth of filmmakers trying to make tell their stories. Are
Mhm.
you finding that industry wise there's a lot of people hungry for material or hungry for something to produce? Because obviously, like we need new stories, right? Um,
Yes.
as far as, like, finding that these, angel donors or these angel investors that are, discovering new films, are you meeting a lot of people like that, and what are they looking for right now?
Yes, I am meeting a lot of people like that, to have them involved in Proof. That is definitely yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
first step.
I
First
mean,
step.
like,
Okay.
what do they think they want, or are they just waltzing in totally open-minded, like, "Take me on a ride?"
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of people will have, like, producers, independent producers, or if they're, like, with production companies, they do have like mandates, things that they're looking for. Like I talked to someone recently, they're like, "Hey, do you have any like hard comedy like things that you've seen recently or like similar to like The Hangover but like a show?" Uh so people will be like looking for something like kind of specific depending on whatever their mandates are financially. Who
Yeah.
knows where they get those? So some people are looking for things. Some people, I would say more of the independent producers, are just looking for like something that really inspires them and gets them excited because they will be working on something for so long, pushing up the hill, especially with a first time director. It just is another hurdle to overcome of like even though they've made this short proof of concept and have kind of like proven they can do it, it can still be like a hurdle to get over of like put the money in this person that hasn't made a full feature yet. Um,
That's
so
like
yeah,
though, because like
it
there was a
makes sense.
point where like actors there was like a whole bump going where like name actors were suddenly doing very small things or like commercials or like smaller roles that usually unknown actors were taking. So it's almost like refreshing to see a place where people who are first time directors or maybe not big name actors
Mm.
have a platform and get seen, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's been really good. So people will just like come in sometimes with like an open mind or they're looking for something and then they'll see, you know, something really awesome and excellent and it just shows the potential of the filmmaker too. And we've seen some really great movements being made like with Proof, which has been exciting. People are getting repped, people are getting like financing, they're getting like talent attached and such. So yeah.
Do you see a change in? I don't know if it's really a change, but have you seen like a widening of the stories that are being told of the Black or POC community when it comes to storytelling? Because there's always this stereotypical type of movies or shows that are being shown. And but do you see that being changing where people want to go outside of the norm and tell those stories that we should be telling, but maybe because of lack of access to funding, or I don't know if I would say lack of creativity, or sticking to
Yeah.
what they know that will bring attention. Do you see a change in that?
I do like and it's so interesting. I have this like perspective of like what is being made on like the indie filmmaker level, like what people are just like wanting the stories. What stories people are wanting to tell. Because there's really awesome kind of like pilot concept the first year called the first 30 days. And it was kind of like girls in New York, but it was like black women. So the HBO show Girls,
Oh.
uh,
Mhm.
but it had so much vision and such. And it's like, so I definitely see like the kinds of stories that people want to tell and are like pushing forward. I think the disconnect is like studios, networks, financiers being like, oh, maybe this is like too small or like it's like this automatic thing that we have to overcome of like stories by POC are not niche or stories like that feature POC and like key roles are like not niche. They can be very universal and people um everyone wants to see them and they can be the four quadrant kind of thing that studios are looking for. You see it with Black Panther. You see it with like so many things where it's just like if you build it, people will come. um, so there are the stories. It's just a matter of like the risk. Like,
One
do you just
thing,
need to?
one thing is that I was thinking now that you mentioned Black Panther and we were talking about Afrofuturism because she actually asked the question about that. Yeah.
Super into it right now.
She's
Oh yes, I love Afrofuturism.
why do like filmmakers consider going across the pond to the continent of Africa or South America and work with filmmakers that are trying to tell the stories there, but probably are not getting the recognition here, but maybe doing well internationally or in their home front. Do you think they're considering, are they working? Do you think that that could happen, or are they doing that right now? Because if they're not being acknowledged here, why wait? Why don't you just extend a hand over to the other side and see what you can come up with?
Yeah, I think that is even more of that is coming as like filming and production in the United States has just become like more and more expensive, kind of like unstable right now with the state of the industry. A lot of productions are going overseas, and independent productions are like doing international co-productions because there's just like there's tax benefits, there's more grants available like in other countries that have more funding for the arts.
Yeah.
um which is great. uh and so I think we're gonna see more of that. There's someone was talking to me about recently about like a South African like tax incentive that is new, and that more people are taking advantage of. So I think that is like honestly the next wave of things as things become so
Rigid and
hard here. Yeah.
because there, when you see some of the stories and movies or shows there in Africa, I'll speak as an African, I'm Nigerian.
Mhm.
When you see coming from where Nigeria started off when it comes to movies and shows back in the day, which is funny to me, but then you see what they're producing now. It's amazing, and they are able to tell stories that I think if people saw it here, they would not even know that it was not filmed here. It was filmed, and the stories are fantastic. Like, I don't know why they're not taking it, especially the POC and Black community. Like, look to those places because they're telling the stories and they're willing to work with you to tell those stories. I just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, we have a yearly event that it's been like 7 years of doing it now, called Nollywood in Hollywood at the American Cinematheque.
Mhm.
Yes. So we
Hollywood,
show.
as in movies from Nigeria. Girls,
Oh, really?
get off
I
the
don't know about
get
this yet. Go
girl.
on.
Nollywood. We
My
don't
tea.
play. We don't
Okay.
play. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. Yeah.
Continue, please.
Totally. So we play like new films from Nollywood every year, and like that is like such a we have partners with it who do they have like a jury and like a process of finding the films, getting screeners and such, and that has been so just like eye opening too as someone. I feel like I do try and see as much international um work as possible, especially just with Netflix, and there's just more and more of that being made. And it's just talking about adolescence, which is made in
Yeah.
the UK, so good. And there's just so much stuff happening. It's hard to like keep up with it all, but stuff like that helps, like Nollywood, yeah.
Does it feel overwhelming though? I know you're enjoying what you do, but it feels like are you overwhelmed? Like what? Okay. In fact,
When you love what you do,
yeah, I
you don't
know,
work
but
a day in your life.
at some point, because one thing is, I'm not trying to be personal or anything, but can you imagine if a guy's taking you on a date and he's like, "Let's go to the movies." You're like, "That's what I do for my
Oh my gosh.
my day job," And then you're just like, "Here we go. I'm watching a movie." For me, it's like, "Oh yeah, let's go." For you, it's your everyday life. Yeah, do you
Totally.
feel overwhelmed or like what? And also, what do you do?
For sure. It can get overwhelming sometimes. I feel like I do have to kind of just like clear out my mind when I'm like watching a movie like for fun, because I will be like watching. It's the difference of watching as a programmer and then watching as just like an audience member. And I have to turn off my programmer brain, which is hard because I'm like, oh, I'm watching this and like looking at if the editing is continuous and
Yeah.
stuff, or like,
Mhm.
oh, there was like a shot here that they're missing. Um, and so just like turning off the brain, just letting it wash over me has been like a thing that I'm still working on. But it is constant. It's something to keep up with. I would go on a movie date still.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I could talk. This was so cool talking to you
So
because I
fun.
really didn't know what to expect. Like, okay, hopefully I
Yes.
learned something from this, and I'm telling you that I did, and it's really interesting. I definitely would love to speak to you, but hopefully we get invited to some of your shows.
Oh, we're going to
Yes.
the festival. I
Yeah.
want to.
Like Nollywood, yes. Proof.
Just thank you so much for joining us. It was such
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
I know that we're going to have a lot to talk about after this
And
conversation.
thank you for helping independent filmmakers launch.
Yeah.
Because we're fighting the good fight,
Yeah.
and without people like you,
It will not happen.
it wouldn't happen.
Thank
So.
you.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me. It's great
You're so
talking to you.
welcome. Enjoy.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Why don't you start? You start.
I actually really enjoy the conversation. I won't lie. I really wanted to continue the conversation, but
Low-key, I
like,
was not even kidding about going to movie trivia. Even if she's bad, I would still go there because she
No,
seems so cool to hang out with.
Yeah, she looks like she's definitely cool. I mean, but you could just tell from the questions, when we ask her the questions, or she just has this big smile on her face because you can tell that she's really enjoying what she does. You know, it's one thing to say she has a job to do. It's like, no, this is her career and she's passionate
That's
about
so
it. And
cool.
so with the way she was explaining it, I became passionate about it. And you, girl, well, that's your area too.
I'm
but
already
you were like,
well, she's helping the community too, and she's helping bring more art to the world. Like, what's not to love?
Exactly. No,
So
it's true.
so
It's
cool.
true. There are more questions I wanted to ask, but she pretty much answered the main ones I wanted to ask her. You know, the idea of going international, Nollywood, the Nollywood festival that she mentioned. I want to check it out. I have to look into that. They've been doing that for 7 years, and that's pretty cool
That's
because
really cool. I had no idea.
yeah, you have like
specifically-
Bollywood for India,
I didn't know
Nollywood
that there
for
was a Nollywood.
yeah, there's a Nollywood for Nigeria. So
Damn.
it's like,
do they dance too?
no, well, there's some that are like
Cool.
musicals, but they're more,
Yeah, because Bollywood is so very musically. Yeah.
So these ones, the movies are more so like you would have
Actions?
drama, actions, comedies. Yeah.
Oh, I bet the horrors are on point too.
I don't think I've seen a horror movie before.
No. Okay.
But the
I'm so
movies
curious.
back then when I was growing up,
Yeah.
when I watched some of them, I think they're still doing them now, but they're more like on the lower end in terms of budget or
For sure.
filming.
Okay.
And they're just so funny because when you watch them back then, it was intriguing. But then when I watch them now, I'm like, oh my God. But they're entertaining, and they just blew up. But of course, as time goes on, it's been better production and everything.
Yeah.
And the stories being told is everything. So I really appreciate that she's trying to she's touching every facet of the movie industry in some shape or form to bring to the table, to bring to the forefront. One thing I really wanted to ask her was what she would want her festival. Does she want her festival to be the next Sundance kind of thing?
Well, no, here's the thing. Sundance does it on a different scale, in my opinion. And Sundance just moved to Colorado. I just heard about this.
Yeah, I heard.
Crazy, right? But basically, they take an independent, but they also show it alongside like other pretty big films.
Okay.
And help get it as much or the best distribution or best deal as possible, right? What she's doing is actually a different tier. So now you've got people with these short films that may be complete unknowns, and getting them together with the people that might be able to launch them into a feature that could be shown at Sundance. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like what she's doing is a Sundance of its own kind. It sounds, I can't believe nothing else exists like this. Maybe there is another festival like this, but this is the first I've ever heard of it, where you are encouraging people to submit shorts to hope to plug them to get a full feature. Because affording even a short is really hard.
It's expensive. Yeah.
And now to make a feature, even with the technology we have, like it's still really, really hard for filmmakers to get that money together. So she's helping launch that.
That
It's
is so
huge.
so kudos to you,
It's so
Imani.
cool.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We hope to connect with you again in the future. But until then, thank you so much for taking the time to explain, to tell us much more about you, and of course, introduce you to more people out there that are looking for people like you to help tell their, bring their stories to life. So
More stories.
Yeah.
More stories.
so thank you guys for joining us in this episode of Let's Talk, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Let's Talk, the Afro Style podcast with Amaka and Camellia. We hope you enjoyed it. If you missed other episodes, you can catch up on YouTube and Spotify. And be sure to subscribe, comment, and email us at info@afrostylemag.com. We'd love to hear from you.